Welcome to the podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Mark.
So we just finished week 1
We did, Paul.
of Maine Deer season. So yeah, we had to have someone that had a little bit of success because we sure as heck haven't.
No, we didn't even see a deer, Paul, in a week.
You've seen a lot
I
of
don't
deer.
think you guys have tried that hard.
Oh, you would be amazed at how much effort we put in, Keith.
You sound like Lacey.
Yeah.
I think she thinks it's like a light switch. I can just go out and be like, okay, I'm going to shoot a deer today.
Oh, it's different in the woods than it is like a field, like I talked to you last time. So
She kept saying, don't you dare wait till December 7th to shoot a deer.
could happen.
Oh, jeez. Well, the first week, before we get to all of Keith's success, because there's a lot of good stories there. A lot of big deer have been shot.
Around town.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Some beautiful bucks.
Yeah.
We'll put some pictures up of those here in a minute. But first, so no snow the first week.
No, in fact, one day, Paul, it was 70 degrees,
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Opening day was cooler
Yeah, first couple days
this
are
year
good.
than last year, opening day was...
I think we had a frost first couple.
We did.
First couple days.
Yeah, that residents only morning was nice and frosty, which was a good thing compared to last year. But I was looking at some of the harvest rates on the harvest dashboard, and I was just telling Keith, Zone 6 was 294.
Wow. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Zone 3, 125. And then you get over into the woods, like Zone 5, 4, 1, and 2. Or Zone 5, 1, and 2 anyway. Those were all like 35, 24, 27.
Goes down quite a bit
Oh my
in
God.
the big woods. Yeah.
Just a fraction of what's been
yeah.
shot around here.
Yeah.
And then you look down at like Zone 23, down along the coast. I think that was almost 2,000.
I was going to say that number must be up.
Yeah. So, and you had mentioned that when we were up hunting,
Yeah. I
kind of
see
the differences between southern Maine, how it's kind of flip-flopped over the years.
I see a chart there, Paul. I had a friend at the camp that had a chart, and I think it was 1959. The deer kill in Aroostook County was over 4,000, and York County was 1,000.
Yeah, now
And in
it's,
1922, it had just exactly flip-flopped. It was over 4,000 in York County and a little over 1,000 in Aroostook County. So,
okay.
yeah. But if they shot over 200 in this...
294?
Right, in
Zone
Zone
6.
6, and it'll be up this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking
Well,
today
there's
at
a lot of deer this year.
church.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
shot deer
Yeah.
first week. It's been a real active week, and it's about the latest deer season can get calendar-wise, right?
I think it is.
This
I
year?
think it is, Paul, the latest it can get this year.
Because
I listened to another podcast, and one of the guys on the podcast say this is the latest it can be.
all right. Because muzzleloader week finishes up in December
Yep.
this year.
Yeah.
Usually up here in the fields, I call it lockdown. It's usually the second week of hunting season.
Okay.
And that's usually when it starts in October. So this year here, after I shot mine on Monday, it just like someone shut the light switch. Tuesday through the rest of the week,
Quiet?
quiet.
No kidding.
I mean, might go 3 days, not even see a deer on camera, not getting any pictures. Then all of a sudden you started getting them back.
Okay.
So on a normal year, when you start in October, I call this the lockdown week. It's where I don't barely see anything.
Nothing's going on.
But it happened the last half of the first week this year.
Okay. That makes sense.
For me up here anyways.
Yeah. Well, now we're getting into kind of like prime rot.
Oh, they're full rut. They're just thinking their necks are all swelled up.
Veterans Day is always a good
Yeah.
time to be out hunting. I know every year it seems like, especially if we have snow, Veterans Day can be a hot day. And doesn't the one popular deer biologist say 15th of November? That's kind of
Yeah, that's the very peak of the rut,
Yep.
I think, Paul. Yeah. Yeah.
in consensus I've been hearing. Like every guy I've talked to that's shot deer, a lot of times they're being chased by bucks, sometimes smaller bucks.
But they're chasing. Right
chasing.
Now. They're all chasing hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're active. So our first week, this will be pretty easy to talk about. It was pretty quiet for us.
Yeah, got a lot of good exercise.
Put a lot of miles on.
Put a lot of miles on.
Did you guys find some good area that's good prospect area for you? Or?
Well, there was one spot that, what did I say? I came back, there was like 14 scrapes.
Yeah.
When I came back, one buck had put down 9 scrapes
Wow.
within a couple 100 yards down the skid
Yeah.
trail. It was just tearing it up. But we've got a lot of bucks on camera. Just
And
we haven't connected.
We've talked about that though, Paul. Where we hunt and the way we hunt there is pretty fluid. So those bucks can be a few miles over one week, and then you'll get them on another camera a few miles away, and then they'll disappear from there.
Yeah, they cover a lot of area.
They cover a lot of area,
right.
and yeah, it's pretty fluid. So
they can go a long ways pretty fast.
Yeah,
very little effort. But about the only thing I saw all week were tons of squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a few birds.
Yeah, a few partridge.
Yeah,
I've never seen this many red squirrels before in my life.
A lot of red and gray.
I'm walking down through the woods, and they're just
everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Well, you don't see any gray squirrels up in the big woods.
No,
do you? It's mostly in towns.
Not up, not up where we
there
are.
A lot around here, gray squirrels.
Yeah,
but they must have had a good year or something. They're all over
everywhere.
the place. I'll start shooting those.
Yeah, I might have to.
Yeah,
I don't know how they'd stand up to a 30-06, but
no, I'd laugh.
Wouldn't be much left to eat.
I came across my first scrape there the other day. First scrape of the day. I was like, well, I'll sit down here and have a snack, and I sit down in a log, and of course there's squirrels running everywhere, going like crazy. I look over beside me, like 3 feet away. There's a pile of fur, some skin from a squirrel. That one didn't. That one didn't make it too good.
Didn't make it?
No. No, he had a bad day. So we had a quiet week as far as deer hunting, but Keith's had a pretty active week. You've had 3 bucks.
We've taken
off your
3.
stand?
Take 3 out of there this week yet. Landowner took one the first day, 7 point, 6:54 in the morning on Saturday. I took mine at 9:05 on Monday. And then my nephew, Chris, I took him out one day. We didn't see nothing. There was no movement. And then we went Friday, and he shot his 9 o'clock, 9:30.
Was it around when you text me?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was mid-morning there,
Yeah.
9 or 10 o'clock or whatever when you text me.
He got a small 8 point.
So Jim's deer, Jim was just looking for
He just wanted meat for the freezer. That was the first one to come out.
And I'll put the video up.
Yeah.
You got video of him.
I got video of him shooting it. Yeah.
It made a nice shot.
Yeah.
And didn't you say, so that deer went just over the knoll, right?
He just went over the knoll right from where he was shooting, right where he was is a little, it's called a gravel pit, but it's a place where he parks his equipment in the middle. From where the deer was to where it died was probably 30 yards. So we waited 30. Is this what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Coyotes?
Yeah.
We waited 30 minutes because I didn't know, because the woods right behind there, 100 yards is Canada.
Yep.
I didn't know how well he shot. I was videoing it. I seen it was a hit.
Yeah.
I just didn't know where he hit. I mean, I'm not using high-tech cameras. I was using my phone. So I said, let's give it 30 minutes and then we'll go after him. So about 30 minutes later, we went down to go after him. We got there and there was 2 coyotes already on it.
Wow.
Starting to pluck the hair off it and trying to get at the back end. Another 10 minutes, it'd start eating meat.
Jeez.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
And you guys do a number on the coyotes around here too.
Yeah, if I see a coyote, I shoot it. I don't care if there's deer in the field or not. I see coyote, I shoot.
There's a lot around here.
Yeah. Just that morning, they just happened to be right there.
Yeah, we're on it.
Yep.
It's scary to think if you had to leave a deer there overnight.
Yeah, so when Chris shot his deer, my nephew, on Friday, we gutted it up by that island, 30 yards from where the coyotes were.
Okay.
And I made a pile there to watch. So I'm coyote sniping now.
There you go. You're not done hunting. You just
well, the other thing, I stopped taking my gun with me, and then Thursday night at 8:30, I had a 300-pound black bear come across the field. So I mean, my license is still good for black bear.
Absolutely.
So I started bringing my gun again in case I see a coyote or
or
a black bear. But other than that, and I'm not sitting there all the time anymore. I mean,
you use the same gun to coyote hunt with, or
the coyote, I like to use a 25-06.
Okay.
But since the bear is there, I'm using the 300.
I'll
shoot a coyote with that too.
Yep. Now, Annabelle and I were headed over town yesterday. Drove down the road and looked out behind one of the houses. There's 2 does laying there.
Right behind the house.
Right like 100 yards off the road, laying in the
Yeah.
Just looking out across.
Well, in town, we got a bunch of deer in town here that live right behind people's houses. You know
Like
where
a-
Chassis
Oh, yeah.
is?
Yeah.
There was 2 behind his house the other day.
No kidding.
Not even 75 yards off the road.
Laying there or just
They were
standing?
feeding.
Yeah.
Feeding on the clover and the grass.
Yeah, you got to figure if there's a lot of coyotes too. I mean, they probably feel pretty safe right
There's
there.
a lot of coyotes around here. There's
Someone's backyard.
a couple packs.
Well, we had a lot of coyote activity around us, Paul.
That's right.
Yeah, howling and going it there. We had a big group of them. We heard 2 mornings there.
We were laughing. They weren't far away either.
They weren't far away.
So we split up. We were down going along the edge of this cut and came back to the truck about the same time. And we're standing there. I think we were having some coffee there, just kind of talking about what we're going to do later in the afternoon. And boys, they started yipping and going it and howling. And I went and grabbed my gun out of the truck because I'm like,
they got to be close.
I was expecting to see a coyote. I'm like, I want to be ready. They don't hang around long.
Yep.
I'm like, I want to be ready. Coyote comes out. I'm going to give it one. I told Dad we ought to go walk down there and see what's going on.
You have a rabbit in distress call or something, Paul. You
Yeah.
probably could have called.
Maybe, you know
Called a
what?
couple
I'm going to
up.
bring my coyote calls and stuff.
Yeah,
Because we've heard them yipping and going at there a lot.
same spot, Keith,
Yep.
in the corner of this cut, and they're not far away because
they're
there's
right
a
there.
road just on the other side, so they're between the road and us.
Yeah.
So they're
Usually when they sound off like that, they're locating the others, or they have an animal down. They're feeding.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, too, because there was one.
off
Sounded
to
like
the left.
he was by himself. He'd
Yeah.
howl, and there was a group of them that would
Yeah.
yip and howl and go
yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. Could have been that, or they could have had a kill. I hope they were just trying to locate each other and didn't have something down, but...
But it'll make the hair raise right on the back of your neck. I know that. Because sometimes it sounds like they're right on top of you.
Yeah. We were laughing. It was like, how many people would want to go down there right now?
Yeah.
Probably make a lot of people nervous.
Yeah.
Hearing those coyotes yip and go it. But so then you shot yours Monday.
Monday morning.
I was surprised to get a text that soon in the season.
Well, remember
I'm
what
like,
I
he's
told
got the
you?
whole month.
I know.
boom.
It's hard to pass up an 8-point.
It is.
It really is.
And you said anything 8 points or
Anything 8
bigger.
points or bigger. Decent 8-point or bigger.
Yeah.
And I sent you the pictures, and it's a decent 8-point.
Yeah, we'll put those up.
And first I looked and I said, and then I just said, yeah, I'm shooting it. I just made up my mind.
Yeah.
That was it. So I had to get from one side of the shack to the other. Jim was with me. He was sitting on the other side of the shack, so he was in the way of where I needed to be.
Okay.
He says, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to shoot it, move. So he had to
going
get
down.
his stuff out of the way, and then I had to get the window open, put my bag over there, and now the whole time the deer was still moving. So, but right when I went to shoot him, he stopped, put the crosshairs on him right on the back of the shoulder, and I went to trip, and he started taking off.
No way.
So my bullet floated back probably 8 inches, 10 inches more than I wanted it to, and I livered him. And he ran about 20, 30 yards, and he stopped. Now, the time I was shooting reloads, so my shell expanded and stayed in the barrel and never came out. So I'm trying to jack another bullet into another bullet. So I took them all out, and I kept jamming the bolt, trying to get that empty shell out,
Yeah.
watching the deer like I'm going to lose this deer. He's going to go in the woods. And finally, it come out, and I slapped the shell in, and I took him right behind the shoulder, and he dropped right there.
No kidding.
But usually it's a one-shot deal, but
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
It happens.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
And
right.
that's a good point because people will say, why do you need a follow-up shot? It's like, man, you don't know it.
you don't know.
The best shot in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I had him right. That Trijicon green dot was right on the shoulder.
yeah.
But he was on a scent. And right when I went to trip, when I made up my mind I was going to shoot, he stepped. Well, that's all it takes. A step and get 6-8 inches. It's still a good hit, but
being that
not the
close to
hit that I
Canada.
wanna hit.
Yeah. Being that close to Canada, you
yeah.
never know what can happen.
So the first shot
Right.
was like 245 yards, and the last shot he was around 268.
Yeah, that's a long shot.
Yeah.
You saw, how many deer did you see that day?
11 does, 11, 12 does and fawns. And then at 9:05 he come out.
Okay.
Yeah,
What day was it that you had the spike horn that was right underneath the...
Saturday.
Okay, that was with Jim's hunt?
Yeah,
Yeah. Or you were finishing
yeah.
hunting that day? Right down below your...
Because after he tagged out, got him loaded up, and he went and took care of his stuff, I went back in the shack.
Okay.
And I hunted the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I saw 3 more bucks that day.
Wow.
I saw
Wow.
2 spikes and the small 8-point that my nephew shot.
Okay.
And I passed them all up. I knew there was something bigger there. I was going to wait.
Yeah. And then Chris, your nephew shot.
Small
Shot
8-point, yeah.
Yep.
I sent you the pictures
That was
of him too.
yeah. Same thing. Was that the first year that came out?
That was the first one. We had 11 does come out at daylight. Right when it got daylight, we had 6 to the left of us, 9 to the right. And they fed and fed probably 45 minutes. And then they worked their way out in the woods. And then 3 more does come out of my food plot
Okay.
and walked up through. So I made 11 or 12. And then the wind started picking up a little bit. It was a little bit windy that day. So it from 10 to 7, it died off. But I told them, I said, the bucks on this farm have been coming around 9 to 11 is when they, after everything clears, they come through and they start sniffing. And shortly, like 9:05, it wasn't right around 9 o'clock. We looked up and I said, there's that small 8-point. You want him? He said, I just want meat. I said, okay. So I got out of his way. He set up and 215-yard shot.
Jeez. What was he shooting for again?
25-06.
Okay.
His dad's.
That's not his first year.
Oh, no.
He shot some.
That's Chris's probably 4th or 5th one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the wind. Speaking of the wind, we had a nice little eventful day because of the wind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you hear the story? Did I tell you the story?
Oh, yes. The tree falling.
Yeah. We get back from hunting Thursday night. We're going to hunt basically all week and then not Saturday just because more people in the woods Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Figure we'll give that a break on the weekends. We get back from hunting and I'm changing in my bedroom. Dad's like, come here, Paul, I need to show you something. I'm like, what? He's like, no, just come here. You come see this. I still just got lawn Jones on. Well, I'm like, what? And he's like, look at my shed. There's a great big
tree fell in your shed.
Great big spruce tree, Keith. The tree was hollow in the middle. So it snapped right off. And it was solid above, Paul. It was when I cut it up.
Okay.
I spent after you left, I spent the afternoon or the rest of the morning cleaning that up.
Yeah.
Did it mess anything up of yours? Or?
It did. Well, it ruined the shed. It fell on the shed, and because it crushed the shed, one of the supports, the metal supports of the shed, come down on the top of the tractor on the roof and cracked the roof. So, I mean, there's no mechanical damage. Everything works on the tractor,
cab, yeah.
but the cab is cracked.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. And I think, Paul, what had happened, I think that happened Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, because Wednesday was
that the
we
heavy
had
wind?
40 miles, I guess. 40,
and
50.
because we leave to go hunting in the morning in the dark, we come home in the dark.
Yeah, you don't see
we
that.
don't see it.
No.
Yeah. So what had happened that night Thursday night, I went out to take a pee out by the culvert there, and I looked up, and that's when I noticed it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I may fix it myself. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So I had someone ask just the other day, because we spend a lot of time hunting cuts and hunting in around cuts. Because first of all, there's a lot of them.
Well, it's in the woods. It's a food draw for them.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
it.
grocery store.
So you're exactly right. So I had someone ask, like, why do you guys hunt cuts?
Because of the food.
There's so much feed in a cut.
Mm-hmm. That's a food plot of the woods.
It is.
When they cut
Yeah.
a fresh cut, you're guaranteed if there's any deer in that area, they're going to be in them cut.
So yeah, you're right. There's all kinds of feed.
Yep.
And no snow. That's kind of one of our starting points anyway.
Right.
Is to
Find
kind
a
of
cut.
hit those, get in around them. And I mean, we got some cameras set up on the edges of some of these cuts and got lots of deer going through.
Yep. The problem
Lots of
is,
bucks.
Paul, that they're passing through and stuff. They're not there when we're there.
No.
It's all at night too.
Well, that's what makes it hard in the woods, guys. You guys, like you said, you could have cameras set up here and some 3 miles away. You're going to get deer here today. And then 2 or 3 days later, you get deer on the other place and nothing here for 3 or 4 days.
Yep. And
Well,
then
they
they
got such a
disappear from
large
there.
area to roam
It is.
Yep.
because there's no set food source.
Nope.
You're right. It's daunting.
Unless you
sometimes.
find yourself a fresh cut with a lot of boughs and a lot of stuff down.
Yeah.
And that becomes a food source for X amount of weeks. And does will congregate there. Now the bucks will start traveling to that spot to check it out. So it's almost like a food plot in the woods when they have a cut.
Yeah. The problem with that is that, and you hit it, Keith, it'll be good for a while, but it won't be good forever.
No.
And one of the problems with the industrial forests, the cuts that we hunt, is they come in and they plant one type of tree,
spruce or pine,
black spruce, whatever.
Yeah, kind of a monoculture.
And then they spray it to kill all the hardwoods and stuff. It kills everything except those spruce trees.
Why would they do that? Why?
They call it seedling release. There's no competition for those spruce trees to start growing.
You know, that's what
they don't want the bushes and the hardwoods and the raspberries
but
and everything.
You need all that for wildlife.
Yeah, but they're not concerned with the wildlife. They're concerned with growing trees.
That's why
harvest.
the big woods back in the 50s,
right?
You could leave one day and come back tomorrow, 5 guys, and have 4 out of 5 have their bucks.
Yeah.
And now you can go up to the woods and it's
tough.
You're not guaranteed you're going to get one.
No.
Unless you guys are persistent, like especially when you hit the snow. At least you know if you get to track, you've done it long enough, you're going to catch up to them sooner or later.
You know there's a deer there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's snow, and all the big woods hunters know that snow makes a big difference. I mean, it's a game changer for us.
Even with your whole psyche.
Yep. Your
like
attitude.
I've enjoyed, like this year, I'm really enjoying fall.
You're enjoying it. Yeah.
I get out there.
You've never got to see a whole fall. You've been working and.
Sometimes though, I get out there and because it feels like you're looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yep.
And you kind of, I don't want to say you forget what you're doing, but you start getting like, I get daydreaming. I get looking at this or get looking at that or get frigging around with something. I'm like, supposed to be deer hunting. But then you can fall into the trap where I keep saying, well, I got all month. There's no pressure. Don't need to hurry.
That month goes by quick.
That's it, because pretty soon you're looking at
I got a week.
Thanksgiving week.
I got a few days left.
Where'd the month go?
Yeah.
I had all month to hunt. It's like, but yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be out there no matter what. But yeah, you can feel like with no snow, like, man, they could be anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just
even this year when we say there's a few more deer around and stuff, Paul, there's still where we hunt. There's not many deer per square mile.
No, there's not.
There's not many deer in the woods. So
we skipped right over the big buck that was shot in town.
Oh, there's a monster that was shot in town.
You know him, you're friends with
2 days ago, I think. One of my buddy's sons, Robert Kilcollins, his son Robbie, went out not yesterday. Was it Saturday or Friday?
I think
it was Friday, same day as Chris.
Yeah.
Friday morning. Saw a doe out in the potato field, stopped, checked her out, and then this friggin' monster walked out. I guess he took a long poke at it, and he nailed it.
That was a big deer.
Yeah, big deer. 11 point, 261-pound dress.
Wow.
We'll put some pictures
it was a
up
monster.
Of that. Huge rack on it. Great big, thick.
Yeah, my rack could go inside of it 1.5 times.
That's right. It's the same butcher's doing both of them, right?
Yeah, same butcher's doing both of them, yeah.
Keith was like, where's the head on that? Where's the rack? Because they had it scanned.
They had it all scanned. I said, I come to see Robbie's deer. He says, right here. I said, where's the head and the horn? He says, right there in the bag. I look. I said, oh my gosh, look how big that is. I said, you got my rack? He says, yeah, it's all cut. Grab it. I grab it, and I felt inferior to that. I looked at that. And I looked at him and I laughed. And I said, look at this. I put my rack on the inside, and you could put another half of my rack, and it would have made 1.5, 1 3/4 of my rack's width. Oh, it was crazy. It was a big buck.
Jeez, yeah.
I mean, as big as your 12 point is, your tines are taller, but width wise, it's stupid.
Yeah, and it's a lot of mass.
Yeah, I got a lot of mass on it.
That's a big deer.
8 years ago, he shot a big one out there. I'm guessing close to the same spot. It was a massive 8 point, 246, 248 pounds.
Yeah.
He's got luck on his side. And he's a good shot. He's a good kid. He deserves it. I'm happy for him.
Rather be lucky than, as Ricky Crusoe would say, rather be lucky than not.
Yeah. I mean, that's the type of rack you'd see somebody in Kansas or in one of them.
Ohio or something like that.
Out west,
big,
massive
gnarly racks.
You got a few pictures of it, so you'll end up putting it on.
I'll put them up.
Yeah.
But
we called him this morning to ask him permission.
I just want to get permission to.
He said we couldn't.
Because, also, and you don't know this, I got a text from George Knox today. He shot one.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
I didn't see him in church this morning, so
No, he.
I gotta look for
I
him.
think he was up. I think they go to a camp there, and I think he was for a few nights, and he was with some buddies.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
shot
for
it.
George.
It looks like it's a young buck, probably year and a half, and I don't know, 3-pointer, 4-pointer, or whatever. Looked like one side had a couple points, maybe the other side only had 2. It's hanging in his garage right now. He told me to stop by and
Good for
check
George.
it out, but he seemed pretty excited.
I think next year I got to raise my standard a little bit.
All right, what's going to be next year?
It'll have to be 8-point, but I'm gonna have to go to a minimum width of outside the ears or certain height or something.
Or a date.
Or a date, yeah. But but like I told one of my buddies, I said when the day comes that I turn down a good 8-point buck, it's time to stop.
Yeah. Because the deer you shot's a nice deer.
There's nothing wrong with the deer I shot.
No.
I mean, he was short. The only thing that hurt him from pushing 190, 200 was the length.
Short deer.
But I gave you a nighttime picture of a game camera that I had the night before I shot him. And when you look at that, his neck's all swelled up. He looks a lot bigger in that picture than what he actually was. But he didn't have the length.
Yeah, those short deer can look just like a
little tank.
Yeah, look like a little tank. Then you're like, man, it's the long ones that weigh up.
Yeah, you gotta have the length.
You get ones with a big frame on it.
Yep.
And
no, I'm happy with it. I mean, or I wouldn't have shot it if I wouldn't have been.
Yeah, that was like Jody. He shot one the other day.
Yep, Jody got one.
And little yearling, but he was like, he'd made comment that
he didn't have a lot of time.
He goes up. He has a new job, right, or something.
He got between his job and doesn't have a lot of time off.
And he goes, like, not the biggest deer in the woods. And I'm like, hey, nothing wrong with that deer at all. You know, I mean nothing wrong with that at all. Doesn't have to be the biggest deer in the woods.
Nope.
But first week's been a good week. So we'll see what second week holds.
Yeah.
I don't see any snow in the forecast.
No, I don't see any snow in the forecast either, Paul. So
I think the second and third week for you guys, waiting for snow, watching the cuts, I think it's going to be a little better for you.
I hope so.
Because the bucks are going to be moving a little more. People don't realize it, but this is my own opinion. This ain't facts, but this is the way I see it. And I've observed deer for years and years from a blind. So I get to learn their habits. Them bucks have been chasing these does where I am, in a mile from you, since the third week of October.
Okay.
I get a lot of pictures where does are zipping by my camera on a dead run, and then 2 or 3 pictures later, or minutes later, there's a buck right behind him with his nose to the ground. And then the week that what little bit of time I spent in the blind now, everything was being chased.
Yeah.
They're chasing. Mine had his tongue out when he came out of the woods, so I don't know where he was or how long he'd been running or what, but
that's what I've been hearing a lot of.
He'd been working, huh? Yeah.
Ryan was texting me there the other day. He shot one early in the year, the crossbow, and he'd said, "There's a little yearling out there chasing all the deer."
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to get in on the action because they want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
I said he needs to have some fun too. Ryan's like, well, he's trying.
Yeah.
Trying, giving it his heart.
I'm hoping I can get Lacey to come out one day this week, or at least Thanksgiving week a day. Give it a break for. I know Thanksgiving. I know if I can get her out there once or twice, might take 2 mornings.
Yeah,
I can get her on a deer.
She was telling me last night. She's like, I'm just afraid to mess.
I told her not to worry about it.
Can't be afraid.
No,
I've missed.
Yeah,
I went a whole decade missing some of the biggest deer I've ever shot at.
Yeah, everyone misses. So if you worry about it, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
You just don't worry about it. Let her fly.
Oh, she's gotta let that go. I mean, she was young.
Yeah, she thinks about those deer years ago.
It was a long shot. My equipment, it wasn't set up the way it is now, where I know the distance and I can dial in so she can aim like she's at 100
yards. And she's got a nice bench to lay on.
I got a sandbag for the front of the gun, and when you shoulder it, your elbows are right on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not moving.
Yep.
And there's no rush.
No.
Wait for the shot.
Yeah, and if she doesn't feel comfortable take the shot, she doesn't have to.
Right.
You just let her go. No pressure. So maybe she will.
So hopefully
we'll talk her into it.
Try to get her out.
Yeah. So what's planned for this week? When are we going up?
More of the same, Paul.
Tonight?
Well, we
Going
can.
tomorrow?
I don't know if I'll have time to go up tonight, but
I made a little boo-boo. I left my clips. The camp.
oh, you told me that. Yeah, and I
I
almost
might be hunting
grabbed
with a
those.
single shot.
I almost grabbed them, Paul. I see him on the windowsill, and I thought, well, those are for his pump.
No,
Your
the pump,
7600. So I left him right there.
no, the pump has just one clip and it's in it.
Yeah.
And I sat him on the windowsill before I was leaving. I was like, don't forget
So
those.
for your 270, you left your clips?
Yeah, left him right on the windowsill. I can always swing by camp.
The other,
You're
the
going to
other,
have to if you're going to hunt.
the other one will work. It just doesn't have a stop.
I
to keep
don't
your
have
bolt
any
in.
of them.
Your 30-06 pump.
That's up there.
You need a clip?
No.
Well, I was
got
telling
next-
him, Keith, my 742, why wouldn't that clip work?
I got
I
three-
think they're for 270.
It might. I think for some reason,
I got
put
3 clips.
I've put
I
yours
was going
in.
to say, I got 3 clips for my 270.
Yeah,
I'll
I got 3 clips, Keith.
I'll try yours if you get an extra one.
I do
If
have
it says
that.
270 or 30-06 on it,
It does.
it's
Like, I
all
think
gonna
mine
work.
says like
it's all going to work.
30-06, 35 Whalen, 270, 280.
Yeah.
Goes right down the. But I think for some reason I tried yours
Well,
and it wouldn't.
they are different models.
Just wouldn't-
Yours is a newer model.
It
so,
wouldn't click.
It
like-
may be.
But I
So
don't
you're
know.
going to have to swing by camp.
Yeah. Or hunt with one shot.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
I can let you use the Magnum.
No, I'm good.
But anyway, Paul, yeah, we'll back up to the camp, and
There's some
all you
system
can
weather.
do is to get out there and hunt. That's
right.
it.
There's some
That's it.
weather systems coming through. Maybe with any luck at all.
It is supposed to be cold a few days. Highs
get
in the
some-
30s, down in the teens at night and stuff.
Get some cool weather.
The trick of it is to have those deer move during the day, which is really tough.
Yeah.
They're
Well, from what I'm seeing up here in the fields, 9 to 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
9 to 12 o'clock. So you'll see all the does in the morning, and I'm seeing the bucks between 9 and 12.
we did have one. We did have one yearling at 9 o'clock
We did.
during the day, but all of the mature bucks they're at night.
They're early in night. Yeah.
Yeah,
But here's the deal. They got to be somewhere during the day.
they do, but they're not in those travel corridors where
No.
we see the scrubs, the rubs and scrapes.
Yeah. And that's
They're
where
bedded in some crap hole somewhere that you
Now, will they hit the edge of those? They'll hit the cuts during the day, won't they? It's not like being in a field. I don't know how they work in the woods.
No, not too much, Keith.
They
Not-
avoid open areas. or-
Yeah. We get, like I say, we got cameras on the edge of the cuts, and we only have nocturnal movement.
But the deal
That's
is
it.
with that, so where all those deer are headed, they're headed coming across the road. And I will say the deer in this area, you want to talk about road aversive? Like they
avoid the
avoid
roads?
roads
Okay.
like nobody's business. I don't know how many deer I've picked up tracking, and you're driving down the road and you just happen to look over to the right and see like punch marks in the snow, like 25, 30 feet off the road.
They'll walk the edges, but they won't.
And they come down where he wants to come across the road, and he's like, nope,
Yeah.
not happening. Turns around and goes the other way. And then you'll be tracking deer. I'll come right up beside a road, look out. I can see the road right there. And they
No.
will not
They'll veer and
go
the
out
other
across that during the day. And we'll get to spots. And it really amazes me every time on how a deer will, in this area, will navigate to where he wants to go without ever actually crossing a road that's well traveled. And you think there's roads everywhere, but they will find a spot where like the road is like a dead end, closed in,
way. Yeah,
not many vehicles. They'll cross right there
really.
and completely avoid.
They're,
Yeah,
they're
it just-
smart animals. They are.
Man, it just, so I can understand where some of these guys that like to say over in the Jackman area, I got to assume it's related to a lot of hunting pressure.
Exactly.
And a lot of guys that say in the Jackman area, they like
Yeah.
to pick up a deer track on foot by going out, getting into spots. And I can understand why that works in places like that because, yeah, during the daytime, especially, man, they
Yeah, they're road and vehicle shy for sure.
will not come out across the road.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they can get to where they want to go.
I wonder if that's just bred into them, or if that's learned behavior, or what.
I think it's got to be learned to some extent because when we were back in the day hunting the big woods up in the North Maine woods,
Not so much.
it was
They'd cross.
They'd
anyway.
cross the road all day
Yep.
long. It was never. I never saw a deer. Of course, I was young then, but I never, had this trend of deer just not going near a road. It was like they want to go someplace, they just go to straight line and go wherever they want. And I just think it's because there's no.
A lot of those deer up there, Paul, never saw a human being.
And that's where I think where the guys would trail watch. They would watch on a road, and they were more successful up there with that because a deer just they didn't
they'd cross anywhere.
They wouldn't even look. They'd have their head right down, and you'd watch deer come out across the road and
not even
they
look up.
They don't even look up. They'd head right down.
Yep.
Right across the road.
To give you two examples to bring that home, yourself, Paul, the partridge up there are way easier they're a lot less vehicle shy than they are where we deer hunt.
You go to some places in Maine, and the partridge, you can see a partridge. I mean, just walk right up to it, and it's almost
or see three or four.
They don't see a lot of people up there. Probably.
It's almost like they just kind of look at you.
Yeah.
You go up in these places,
Jack
there's
Mountain, places like that.
A lot of traffic. You come down the road, and you look down the road, and you'll see a bird 200 yards down the road.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no even time to step out. He's
and the
running.
And the second example is the moose, how that's changed in the 40 years we've had a moose hunt.
Yep.
They are much more road shy, the moose are now, than they were in the early 80s or 20 years ago. They're much more road shy, and the guides, the outfitters all say that.
Yeah.
Moose hunting now, if you really want a moose hunt, you got to get off the road. Dumping them in the ditch, and we did it this year. We dumped it in the ditch, but
Lock.
that's not as consistent as it was 20 years ago.
Yep.
Dropping a moose in the ditch right off the main road.
20 years ago, you got bird hunting.
Yeah.
And you'd see moose all day long.
Yeah.
And they
trophy moose.
Yeah, just stand there and
moose.
look at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's hard to find.
They see you. It's usually see you later.
So.
Yeah. I think that covers a lot for the first week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
some of us had more action than others.
One thing for sure, Paul, we can't do any worse than the first week.
No. Oh God, don't say that.
Yeah, we can't do any worse.
It'll get better.
No deer and a tree came down on the shed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you lost my camp. And you lost your cell phone.
And lost my cell phone. So
I'm going up to camp, and I had a couple meetings on Wednesday, and one kept getting pushed further and further back, and I'm like, I said I was going to leave at this time because I was going to cook supper. I'm like, I got to get a hold of Dad. I keep trying to call him. It's just going to voicemail. I'm like, what the heck? So I keep calling, and then I was a couple hours after dark, and he's probably wondering where I am. I haven't heard from him. And I get to camp, and I'm like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. He's like, well, I lost my phone somewhere up on the ridge.
You did?
It was, Keith, it was Wednesday.
Did you find it?
No, it was just a little flip phone.
Yeah.
70 degrees, and I'm hiking up this ridge, and I'm going, my goodness, I was struggling. I had wool on, and
so you started peeling clothes off?
I started peeling clothes off. I had it in my coat, and it
went flying.
I peeled off my my wool coat and started just lugging it, and I'd switch hands and stuff, and I get up to the top, up to the truck, and my phone was gone, and I said, oh man.
Not going to look for that.
I was just walking through the woods. I wasn't on a trail or anything, and so I thought, no, that phone is...
They're cheap enough.
They're cheap enough.
Yeah.
But...
Alrighty. Well, Keith, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Sharing your stories of your first week.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the rest of the season.
So what have we learned? What have we learned about deer hunting the first week, Paul? Far better around town than in the woods.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's far better around town than.
Yeah, they shot a lot of deer the past week.
Yeah, around town,
and that's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah,
good. Just get them out of the way.
Yeah,
just get out of the way.
Yeah.
Just need some snow. I'll do a little snow dance tonight.
There you go.
So, alrighty. Well, I guess back at her this week.
For sure.
Yep.
All week. Yeah.
Keep at it. Time spent.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll things will change,
Connect with
Paul.
something.
We'll see deer.
Oh yeah.
We'll eventually see deer if we keep at it.
Yep. All right.
So,
Well, I guess until next time, get outside.
it's good for the soul.
See ya.